The lights inside the America's Got Talent Theater glowed softly as the audience buzzed with casual excitement, unaware that they were about to witness a moment that would soon echo across the world. From backstage emerged a Filipino performer whose calm demeanor barely hinted at the emotional hurricane within. Dressed simply, with eyes that carried both humility and hunger, the contestant walked onto the stage with slow, deliberate steps. This was not the walk of someone seeking instant fame, but of someone carrying years of struggle, sacrifice, and silent dreams. The judges smiled politely, as they always did, but there was curiosity in their eyes, especially Simon Cowell's, who leaned back in his chair with cautious interest. When asked about their background, the contestant spoke gently about growing up in the Philippines, about music being the one constant in a life shaped by hardship, and about a family who believed even when the world didn't. The crowd listened closely, sensing sincerity. Reba McEntire, seated among the judges, watched with a warmth that suggested she already felt a connection. This wasn't just another audition. The air felt different, heavier, quieter, almost sacred, like the calm right before lightning strikes. As the music began, the theater fell into complete silence. The opening note floated into the air, soft, controlled, and hauntingly beautiful. It wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. It was honest. Within seconds, the audience leaned forward, drawn in by a voice that carried pain, hope, and resilience all at once. The Filipino star sang with a depth that felt lived in, every lyric shaped by real experience rather than performance. Each note climbed higher, stronger, more confident, until the voice filled every corner of the auditorium. The camera cut to Simon Cowell, whose usual skeptical expression had vanished, replaced by something rare, surprise. His eyebrows lifted slightly as he leaned closer, clearly unprepared for the emotional weight of what he was hearing. Reba McEntire's eyes shimmered as she listened, visibly moved by the authenticity pouring from the stage. This wasn't just technical perfection. It was storytelling through sound. The crowd began reacting instinctively, gasps turning into murmurs, murmurs into applause that erupted between verses. The song wasn't finished yet, but hearts were already breaking and healing at the same time. Midway through the performance, something extraordinary happened. The singer closed their eyes, surrendering completely to the music, as if the stage, the cameras, and the judges no longer existed. The voice cracked, not from weakness, but from overwhelming emotion, and instead of faltering, it made the performance even more powerful. Tears streamed down faces in the audience. Some people clutched their chests. Others covered their mouths in disbelief. This was no longer a competition. It was a shared human experience. Reba McEntire placed her hand over her heart, visibly shaken by the raw vulnerability unfolding in front of her. Simon Cowell, known for his brutal honesty, sat utterly still, his expression softened in a way viewers rarely ever see. The song built toward its climax, swelling with emotion, rising like a wave about to crash. When the final high note soared through the theater, strong and fearless, it felt like the release of years of bottled-up dreams. As the last note faded, there was a split second of stunned silence. Then the entire theater exploded into a standing ovation. The applause was thunderous, endless, almost overwhelming. The Filipino star stood frozen at center stage, hands trembling, eyes wide with disbelief. Tears streamed down their face as they bowed repeatedly, struggling to process the reaction. Simon Cowell rose slowly to his feet, clapping with genuine admiration, shaking his head as if to say he could never have predicted this. "That," he finally said when the room quieted, "is why this show exists." His words landed heavily, signaling just how deeply the performance had impacted him. Reba McEntire took a deep breath, her voice slightly unsteady as she spoke about how the performance reminded her of why she fell in love with music in the first place, because it tells the truth. She spoke about struggle, perseverance, and the courage it takes to stand on that stage and bare your soul to the world. The contestant listened, hands clasped tightly, tears still falling, clearly overwhelmed by the praise. Then Reba stood up, looked at highlighted button glowing beside her, and smiled through tears. In a moment that would soon be replayed millions of times online, Reba McEntire pressed the golden buzzer. Instantly, golden confetti rained down from above, cascading over the stunned performer like a dream made real. The crowd screamed in joy as the music swelled and the lights shimmered gold. The Filipino star dropped to their knees, sobbing uncontrollably, hands covering their face as the weight of the moment finally hit. This was more than advancement to the live shows. This was validation for every sacrifice, every doubt, every night spent believing when no one else did. Simon Cowell applauded louder than anyone, smiling broadly as he watched the confetti fall. "You deserve this," he said simply, his voice filled with respect. Reba walked onto the stage and embraced the contestant, whispering words of encouragement that only they would hear. It was a powerful image, a legendary artist passing belief to a rising star, one golden moment bridging generations and continents. As the confetti settled and the applause slowly faded, one thing was clear. This was no longer just an audition. It was the birth of a star whose story had already touched the world. The Filipino performer stood once more, wiping tears, smiling through disbelief, looking out at a sea of cheering faces that now believed in them just as fiercely as they believed in themselves. Backstage, crew members wiped their eyes. Online, clips of the performance would soon spread like wildfire, inspiring millions who saw themselves in that journey. Simon Cowell later admitted it was one of the most emotionally honest performances he had ever witnessed. Reba McEntire called it a reminder that true music has no borders. And for the performer, this golden buzzer moment was not the end. It was the beginning of a new chapter, written in courage, resilience, and hope. A dream born in the Philippines had just taken flight on the world's biggest stage, and nothing would ever be the same again.